What's good, people? Move some things around on my screen here. Thank you guys for joining. Looks like Davey's in the building. What's good, Davey? How's it going, man? Um, yeah, I decided to pop on here, answer a few questions. Let me know if you have any questions about DAWs, music, um, sampling, sync, whatever you guys want to talk about. I'm here to talk about it. You might be the only one here, Davey. I don't know. Let's see what's going on in the world of YouTube. All right. Says that there's two people here. Soul Soundworks, what's good, man? From Spain. That's what's up. Spain in the building, man. Appreciate you for stopping by. Let me know if you have questions. I'm here for questions today. So I don't have any DAWs pulled up now, so that's why you only see my big face on the screen. But if you guys have like questions, definitely let me know. Hopefully you can hear me and everything is hunky dory. I mean, we can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about, whether that's like, Cakewalk or Studio One, Reaper, Ableton, whatever you guys want to talk about. I'm here for the questions. Sampling rate for rendering. I mean, honestly, you don't need over 48. I'm just gonna be honest with you, because almost every stereo medium is gonna be at 48. 96 is cool. You get to have a little bit more headroom and kind of get more frequencies in there that way, but it's not necessary, because if you think about it, like even any streaming service is probably going to be at 44. Usually like TV, film, movies are like 48, and that's where they limit themselves at. They don't go to, the 96 to 128 and the 250. They don't do all that. Like I've seen people do it and edit it, and it just makes a big file for no reason, and they still bring it down to the 48 or the 44 for whatever project that they're actually doing. So I don't necessarily see the appeal of it, but there are people out there that will say, "Oh yeah, put it at 96 and go higher on your bit rate." But I know there's some interfaces that don't even do past 96, so there's that. I know like the standard usually is like 128. I think most interfaces go to, or 196. I think it is. I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head. But yeah, like most of the interfaces, even the like the audio interface journey that I was going on when I was trying out all those audio interfaces, a couple of them were only 96. So it's like one of those things. Like yeah, that is definitely possible. That it'll introduce some latency in there. Latency is one of those things where a lot of the interfaces nowadays you don't really have to worry about it. It used to be a thing like all the time, like because the interfaces really couldn't keep up with the audio and stuff. But nowadays, like all these drivers are pretty good. There's not like a really really bad one that I've actually tried where I was like, I can't ever record with this kind of interface. What interface do you have? You're probably gonna tell me you have like one of those Focusrites or something, or maybe even I know the first complete one, the native instrument one. I know that one was like 96, and I was gonna get that one, but I decided to get the US the Tascam because it did the 120 something. I think I don't remember what it was, but it was just a better choice for me. Personas AR12. Okay, yeah. A couple of the Personas ones are only 96. I know they've updated theirs as well and made it a lot bigger and better. But yeah, I mean, I just think people do a lot of things that make it seem like they're doing more than what they are. Um, it's like when I see people that have like 200 tracks for a song, and I'm like, why do you have 200 tracks, yo? Like, and they have like 15 snares all layered on top of each other, and I'm like, why don't you just get a dominant snare and kind of tweak that one snare instead of trying to layer it? And they're like, oh no, you gotta understand, you gotta layer it and make. I'm like, all right, cool. I mean, it's still a snare. Like, it's when you break it down and you put it into like buses and stuff, it's still just a snare, you know, like you're just really just taking up real estate, making people think you're doing more than what you're actually doing. And, you know, it's cool for, you know, the big studios. That's how they get their money. But I don't think it's all that necessary. Do you know any VSTs to do scratching? Ooh, what DAW are you using? Soundworks, like what DAW are you using? I know FL has like a DJ thing in there that you can actually use. A VST one, I don't remember what it's called, yo. There was like there was one that was out there. I don't remember. I think it was like 32-bit though. So I don't know what it was called anymore. That was a while ago, yo. And you saying in Cakewalk? Yeah, that's gonna be tough. A scratching VST. That's a really good question, yo. Let's see here. Let's see if my Google intuition. Looks like Cable Guys might have one. And there is a DJ vinyl scratching VST plugin. I don't know if that's free or not though. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know any that kind of really do good like with vinyl. Yeah, the vinyl noise and tape. That one is just for more of getting your stuff to sound more vintage or like it's coming from a record. But it doesn't really. I mean, I think it does have a tape stop option on there to kind of give that if that's what you're looking for. If you're looking for actual like scratching, like that kind of stuff, I'm not sure you're gonna get exactly what you want by a VST. Just to be honest, not saying there's not any out there, but you're probably gonna have to pay for it. I know like the whole like Serato kind of thing. They have like the DJ thing in there, but you can actually use that. But it's still outside of the DAW. Not one that you use like inside the DAW. But if you're looking for like a tape stop, something like that, then yeah, I think the vinyl from Isotope, I think it has an option on there to do like the tape stop effects. Other than that, you're probably gonna need to get like one of those Effectrix. I know they have like stuff like that. Yeah, Shaper Box. Yeah, the Cable Guys things. Yeah, I know about them, but I don't know if he's trying to go the free route or yeah, but it's kind of hard to do DJing and vinyl scratching and as a plugin. I highly wouldn't suggest it, just to be honest. But no, to each his own. Everybody has their own thing. It looks like UVI has one as well. It's called Scratch Machine. It looks like they have like a record there you can kind of do. Another DAW that you may want to try is Traction Waveform if you're in Cakewalk. Traction Waveform has like a DJ kind of suite in there where you can actually do some of the like blending and things inside of the DAW itself. I thought that was pretty cool. It is for the paid for version though, so or you can just buy the DJ bundle itself. What people don't realize about Traction Waveform that it is actually a free DAW. You're just paying for like the add-ons, so like all the effects, extra effects that you get in there, like the stem separation and the DJ stuff, the video editing. All those are like separate things that they kind of just added together. You said ADSR has one. That's interesting. I haven't been to the ADSR site in like forever. I have no idea what they have on that site anymore. But yeah, so it looks like there's a couple of them out there, but you're like I said, you're probably gonna have to pay for it. And I don't know. I mean, if you have like I think BandLab might have some scratches in there as well. I mean, because scratches is just, you know, you really don't need to really do scratches in your tracks anymore. Like there's so many people that have done scratch cuts that you can just kind of add inside your track to make it feel like, you know, you're scratching. But it's not necessary. Man. But I did see the Studio 1.7 came out. I haven't downloaded or tried it or anything, but you know, maybe we'll see. Time Shaper, yeah, that's one of the Cable Guys things, the Shaper box stuff. Yeah. So Soundworks, what would you need the scratching for? Are you like doing it for like a mixtape kind of thing, or you just want to add it to like a boom bap kind of beat or something? Like, what are you actually using it for? Just kind of curious of that whole thing. So, I mean, if anybody is actually watching this, kind of new here, I usually do a lot of different DAWs, kind of mess with them in different ways. So if you have like questions about that, definitely let me know. I also have a Discord server that you can actually ask questions in there as well. If you have usually almost any DAW, I don't have Logic, but there's probably somebody in there who does have Logic on the Discord. So definitely join Discord. We have fun in there. We do live beat reviews. So if you have a beat or a song that you want reviewed, I do them on Thursday nights, usually around 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And this month is also a sample flip month. So this week I'll actually be going over the sample flips as well. So if you are a person that does do samples, you like samples, you like to flip samples, we have the community there that does the sample flips, and that is also going to be on Thursday night where we go over the sample flips. And usually whoever wins will get a prize. So we'll kind of, you know, keep it that way and see who actually has the best flip. But that's just one of those things. All right. You said it's for your hip hop beats. Okay, that's what's up. You don't have a turntable or DJ controller. I got you. Yeah, I haven't really, you know, it's kind of interesting. I haven't really heard many people scratching tracks. Like, you know, like before it used to be like almost a, you know, a common thing, but not many people are scratching, at least not from what I've heard. I guess I'm more into hearing what the industry is kind of doing just so I can kind of tailor that toward the whole sync thing. So that's kind of where I stand with that. All right. See, it's very interesting. Like we're anytime I go live, it doesn't seem like anybody has questions. It's really interesting to me, man. And then when I'm not live in there, though, usually in the comment section saying, hey, you need to go live and we can ask you some questions so we can see how to do stuff. Mix and Newmark DJ controllers without interface could work. Yeah, I think Serato has one as well. I think it's free. I want to say it's free, or Tractor. I think it's Tractor. Geo, what's good, man? Thank you for joining, yo. I'm just here yapping away. Just kind of chilling, yo. So what's good, Gio? You got any questions for me? I'm trying to just do a regular Q&A, see if this actually works. Most of the time I'm just making a beat and then people still don't ask questions. So I guess I just wanted to kind of see if people have questions. Hopefully I can answer them, but we'll see. Is that Manuzi? I guess that's how you say that. Sorry if I'm butchering your name. What's good? Thank you for joining. Why does this call you OG? And hopefully that works. Yeah, man, I'm just doing a Q&A right now. If you guys have like any questions about DAWs, about plugins, about effects, about sync licensing, about anime, whatever it is, I'm just here kind of kill some time in a way. No, it's just I'm just using OBS, doing this face tracking thing. Usually I don't see it because my face is usually small, but yeah. Do I still use Cakewalk? Yes. I still use Cakewalk. I was hoping that they would do like the whole sonar thing and have it perpetual, and I see a lot of people are not really gravitating toward that whole subscription base with the BandLab, even though I think it's actually a really good deal for what you actually get for the $100 and something bucks. Because if you think about it, you get almost unlimited sounds. You get Sonar, you get Next, which I don't really understand the whole purpose of Next. I don't know why they really created Cakewalk Next. I'm still up in the air about why they did that one. You get promotion on your BandLab account, which is actually a pretty good community. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not that bad. Then you have a lot of the really cool effects that they have in there. You can still do your branching out through BandLab and kind of working with other artists that way, doing your forked accounts to make songs with other people and branch out. So, I mean, for what it actually offers, it offers a lot, in my honest opinion, but it's not something that people want to do. I don't understand why they don't understand their community, because they know how Cakewalk people are, but yet and still, I don't know if it's like BandLab forcing them to kind of do it this way, or it was their thing, like we're still behind, so we're just gonna kind of fake release it kind of thing. I don't know. That's the way I see it. I see it as they just kind of put it out there just so they can, I guess, say they put something out, because you gotta think about it. It's been over a year since they talked about releasing Sonar, and every other DAW has released almost twice since that time frame. So like, what were they really doing? They should have just kept it on the hush hush and just kept working on Sonar in the background and not really putting it out there to the world like they have. Soundworks, Sonar, Perpetual, or no, I feel you. I mean, I may actually dive into it, but now that Studio One is out and I still get a perpetual license, would I rather go with Studio One than Cakewalk to kind of see what's going on with that? 200%. I'm just gonna be honest, like 200%. I'd probably want to go that route. I've heard about some of the things they had in there, the splice integration, which seems really cool. I haven't tested it myself. They have the stem separation as well now. They have the launcher where you can actually do launching just like Ableton and everybody else is starting to do as well. So, I mean, would I go to Cakewalk to do that? Probably not. I mean, it's just one of those things. BandLab does offer the stem separation. Like everything that these other DAWs are really doing, BandLab itself actually does. And then having Sonar as the backup is the way they want to do it. But the whole next thing, I don't understand next. I can give my opinion here, seeing that this is my free platform. I really do think that they messed up. The reason I say that is because they should have worked on the Mac version of Cakewalk or Cakewalk Sonar instead of doing the whole next thing. I think next it has nothing to do with anything. Like, I don't know anyone that's going to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to use Next as, my DAW now. Like there's no one doing that. I'm just going to be honest. Like there's no one doing that. It just lacks a lot of things, and it's basically like BandLab on your PC. That does have the option to go to Mac, which is interesting. Like, I don't understand why they didn't do a Mac version of Sonar. I think that would have helped out a lot more. And then people will understand, like, oh, so that's why it is taking so long, because they were doing a Mac version. But that's not the case. It's still only for PC. So I don't know why. I don't know why they are not doing a Mac version of Cakewalk. It makes absolutely no sense to me. But, I'm not in charge. I'm just a YouTuber that uses stuff. And I try to help out as many people as I possibly can. And that's basically what this channel was actually made for. Just to try to help out people who can't really, afford to do the whole FL Studio, Ableton, paying $400-$500 for a DAW. And Cakewalk was absolutely free, and it helped out a lot of people. So that's kind of where I went that way. You said, OG, you said you're a user? A user of what? What are you using? Only sub UVI, not admin. UVI is actually really dope. I've actually tried a couple of their things. I really like their layout and things that they have in there. They have some really, really good sounds. How many decibels do you have your clipper at when making boom bap beats or any genre? My clipper? That's an interesting question. My clipper is usually at like maybe negative 0.02, something like that. 0.02, I think it is. And the reason that is because I actually use buses for my drums. So like I'll have my clipper on my drum bus, but I'll still turn it down. Like I'll do like negative 6 dB as it goes out for the fader for that track. But my clipper is clipping at that 0.02. So like it's chopping anything over that. So that's kind of where I keep my clipper. It's like you renting your tool. Yeah. It's basically renting a tool. That's the one thing I don't necessarily like about the whole Sonar thing. Like if I'm working on something and I just want to finish this project up, it's the end of my whatever subscription. Can I actually still save and move along and do stuff in there, or do I have to buy a whole thing again? Whereas when you have your perpetual license, you're still going to be able to do all that. You're going to be able to save and render and send and all that other stuff. Whereas with the subscription, if you're not in it, then you kind of lost it. I feel you on that. OG says -8. I don't know what -8 means. All right. Studio One or Reaper? That's an interesting question. Is it Metric? Metric? I'm sorry. I'm gonna butcher your names. If you don't know me by now, I will butcher your names. It's just what it does. Studio One or I haven't used Studio One 7. I have used Studio One 5 and 6. When it comes to those, I would definitely put Reaper over. I mean, I would put Reaper over all the other DAWs, and I can give you several reasons why. But right now, I haven't tried Studio One 7. I don't know if they've optimized the DAW a little bit better. That was like one of my biggest issues with Studio One, is that I always had issues with optimization. So like if I'm using a couple of VSTs, like say Autoria, right? So I'm using Autoria, I use like 2 or 3 of them, and then Studio One starts glitching. It's like, nah, dude, you can't have these 3 on here, yo. Like it's not gonna work. It kind of reminded me of the whole FL Studio thing. That's why I used to have issues with FL Studio, and that's really the reason I actually moved over to Cakewalk. I was tired of waiting all the time and tired of it freezing and crashing. So I went over to Cakewalk, and Cakewalk was so much smoother when it came to like building out like my orchestral templates. Because I was really trying to get into orchestral music. I still am not really there, but Cakewalk gave me the option to kind of minimize the CPU, stuff. Like it wouldn't crash as much as FL Studio did. It would load up contacts so much faster than FL Studio. So like I'm really an optimization kind of guy. So if I click on something, I want it to come up and start working. And I get that with Reaper. Like I don't have any issues with Reaper when I'm pulling up VSTs, anything like that. Studio One, I did have a couple of issues with it actually doing weird stuff. And yeah, that's where I would say Reaper. I mean, there's so many things I could tell you about Reaper. Man, yo, such an amazing DAW. I think the community that is with Reaper is second to none. There's not another community that is as good as Reaper's community, in my honest opinion. I've been with almost all of them. I've been with the Cakewalk community, which sometimes shades people, and I don't know why they do that. There's been even videos that I've put out there, asking questions basically, and people are like, "Oh, you're just clickbaiting." I'm not clickbaiting. I'm the one doing videos for this DAW. Like I'm the one actually supporting you guys as much as I possibly can. But you're saying I'm clickbaiting. I'm just asking questions that people want to know. So, yeah, that the community can be a little toxic, I think. That's just my personal opinion. I've seen other people talk about the Cakewalk community as well, saying how toxic it can be. I think Mike's group is probably one of the best ones. I don't really feel any kind of hate or animosity toward anything that I put in. They just let it rock. I mean, it is what it is. Like people have opinions, people have thoughts. To try to like snub them just for making stuff is kind of weird to me. I am not a defender of any DAW. I will tell you that right now. I don't defend DAWs. It doesn't make sense to me, right? I'll just tell you my opinion on it and leave it at that. There are people out there that will really fight you for talking about their DAW, yo. It's amazing. I think I did the what was that called? The tier list. And there was somebody in there who was like, "Yo, you need to correct what you're saying." And I'm like, no. It doesn't matter, yo. It's just a tier list. The tier list was meant to trigger people. That is the whole point of a tier list, because some people will agree with you, some people won't. I did throw a monkey wrench in there when I put BandLab up against over a lot of other DAWs. People were really pissed about that. I did that on purpose. I wanted to get some kind of reaction to see if people are actually watching the things that I'm actually putting out there. So I don't feel like I'm just putting stuff out there for no reason and no one's watching or actually listening and doing anything for themselves. So that's kind of why I did that. But yeah, The answer to that question right now, I would say Reaper, just because I have not tried Studio One 7, which I might do. I got to check the budget, see how that's gonna go. But yeah, right now it would be Reaper. How to activate a preview track to hear sounds on Cakewalk browser. Mm-hmm. It should just work. Just to be honest with you, like I know usually when you open up Cakewalk, they have the preview kind of track there. So you should be able, if you go through the browser inside of Cakewalk and you click on a WAV file, it's gonna play, unless you turned it off to autoplay. So usually you go up and there's an option to autoplay the sounds inside of Cakewalk browser. That's another thing where I would say Reaper is definitely really, really dope, is that it actually shows you the waveform. You can manipulate the waveform. You can manipulate MIDI inside of the browser before you even put it or drag it into the DAW. So yeah, that's one of those things where Studio One does not do that. But you can do it in Reaper. And like the scripts that they have inside of Reaper is utterly ridiculous, man. Yeah. Can you show us some time or in a video how to use a multi-band compressor to master a track? That's interesting because I don't really use a multi-band per se. I guess you can say it's multi-band, but I don't really use a multi-band on my master track. Like I'll use the IK Multimedia, the one plugin. I'll use that. I mean, it does have, I guess you can say, different bands. Like it has like the high frequency to give it air. It gives you like a focused area. It's like that's basically like your mids. It has a I guess you could say a fattening area. So it was just more like the low mids to kind of boost those up. Then you have an actual bass section. Then you have a width section that will actually spread out the track to give it more space. Then you have like a transient section. So if you want to really capitalize on your transients, you can actually turn that up and it'll make your transients hit a lot harder. So like your snares, your bell sounds, your kind of like your hi-hats, all those things that have really sharp transients will be able to kind of be more heard inside the track. Then they have like a almost like a tape effect, I guess you could say, to give it some more like saturation in a way. And then they have another option for like the bass and kick and stuff. So I mean, I guess you can say those are kind of like a multi-band, but not really. I don't necessarily use a multi-band to master tracks. But I mean, you can. I mean, it'll help out for certain tracks. But the way I mix, I don't necessarily need a multi-band because I kind of put everything in their own kind of section as it is. So I think that's the key, right? So before you even think about doing mastering, is usually just kind of boosting and making sure things are loud enough and gives it that polish, you know what I'm saying, for your track. But the mix is what actually matters. If your mix is good, the master is going to come out good. I mean, there's no other way around it. If you can mix good, then your master is going to come out good. It almost doesn't have any other choice but to come out good. Even if you're using like those like online mastering tools like the Lander or the BandLab and all that stuff. Like if you have a really good mix and you put it in there, it's going to sound amazing, regardless of, you know, what you actually are using. So yeah. If one day I had to stop using Cakewalk, which the most familiar workflow? That's a really, really good question, man. I don't think there's another DAW out there that has the same workflow as Cakewalk. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Because the simplicity of Cakewalk is what makes people gravitate toward Cakewalk. it's a very, very simple DAW to use. Like, I mean, it looks complicated when you pull it up for the first time. You see all these buttons and these little switches and things. But once you start actually navigating inside a Cakewalk, you realize that it's really, really simple, man. Like the simplicity is almost utterly ridiculous. Like you can move things around, like, and it makes sense. Like if you hit B on your keyboard, it'll remove your browser. If you hit B again, it'll add the browser back. You know what I'm saying? Like if you have your docking station, if you hit D, it's going to remove the docking station. And you hit D again, it's going to bring the docking station back. So like those are like the little things that make Cakewalk really one of those DAWs that is kind of hard to say there's another DAW that flows like it. Like a lot of people will say Cubase, but Cubase is way left field to me. When I go inside Cubase, it doesn't have the same workflow as Cakewalk. It doesn't move like Cakewalk. It doesn't act like Cake. It's like there's no real comparison to me when it comes to Cubase and Cakewalk. I look at traction waveform. It's nothing like Cakewalk. Reaper is actually nothing like Cakewalk as well. But the difference between Reaper and all the rest of the ones I would say are supposedly close, like they say Studio One is probably close to Cakewalk. I would say yes and no, but you can get, I think Studio One is probably the closest one, just to be honest. Now that I think about it, because it has kind of that same kind of workflow, but not really. I mean, it's because you can move things around inside of Cakewalk where you can't move things inside of Studio One. Like if I wanted my transport bar to be at the top of the screen, I can't do that inside of Studio One. It stays at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? Like the browser stays on the right hand side. You know, you can't move it around and put it like on different screens. It doesn't do that. Like you could put your mixer on a different screen. I think your MIDI editor can go on a different screen, but like a lot of the other things are just kind of stationary. They are where they are. You can't move them around. Whereas Cakewalk, you can kind of move all these pieces where you want them to be. And that's where like Reaper kind of comes in handy. Like you can make Reaper act just like Cakewalk. So if you really wanted to, you can go through, change all of the shortcuts, all the buttons inside of Reaper, make it exactly like Cakewalk. It'll still be a little better inside of Reaper just because of how they move things around. I have several videos on this channel that are showing you moving from Cakewalk to Reaper. I even have like what is it called? A configuration file on my website. I think it's like $12, and you can move from Cakewalk to Reaper. Of course, people want to call me during the live stream. Let me see what's going on. All right. Yeah. So yeah, I would say Reaper is probably one of the closer ones because you can edit it and make it look like, I even have it to where you can use a skin, or it's not called a skin, but yeah, you can use a skin inside of Reaper and actually have it even look like Cakewalk. So if you go through this channel, I think I have it on this channel where it's from Cakewalk to Reaper. Check that video out, and I'll kind of go through, you know, some of the settings and things that it has in there. And Davey says Reaper. I mean, Reaper doesn't function like Cakewalk though. Like if right out the box, there's no really other DAW that kind of functions like Cakewalk right out the box. Like I said, I think Cakewalk is probably one of the easiest ones to kind of use and maneuver in. Even compared to like FL Studio, where everybody will say FL Studio is easy to use. FL Studio is one of the most difficult users, one of the most difficult things to use, man. Like if you come from any other DAW and you go to FL Studio, you'll be like, what is this? Why is it so chaotic? Like there's screens and stuff everywhere. So it's like, what do you really do here? You know? Yeah, Bitwig is probably one of the most interesting ones that I've actually used. I really want to actually get into it a little bit more, but I just don't. Every time I open it up, I don't feel inspired. I don't know why. And there's a lot of people who tell me, use Bitwig and create sounds and things like that. I'm not a sound designer like that. I do like to have presets and just kind of go through presets. And if I need to tweak something, I'll tweak it slightly. But I'm not that dude. I don't create sounds like that. Plus, I don't really see people using Bitwig to like record things. I don't know if they even have like a ARA support for like the Melodyne stuff. So I mean, like, there's some things that are really missing inside of Bitwig. But people love it, man. I mean, they are just really adamant that Bitwig is a top performer. I don't see it personally myself, but to each his own. Everybody's gonna have their own thing that they kind of do. Adobe Audition has a huge wow. Wow. Adobe Audition. I have not used Adobe Audition like whatsoever. Like, I don't have. Do I have anything Adobe? I used to do like the Photoshop thing, but then I stopped even using that. Like, I don't mess with Adobe ever since they went to that whole subscription thing where you got to pay like every month. I was like, yeah, I'm not finna do that. Adobe. But I don't know about Adobe Audition. Like, I've never seen anybody record stuff inside Adobe Audition. I've never seen people make beats inside Adobe Audition. I've never seen them record a band in Adobe Audition. So like, I don't know anything about that as an actual DAW. But I'll take your word for it. If you say it's kind of like Cakewalk, it might be. I just don't know. Yeah, I agree, Davey. Like, that whole big wig thing, it confuses me. I don't mess with it. I mean, I have it on the computer, and I realized that when they update their stuff for Bitwig, like, you have to keep paying for these updates, and I don't understand why they're doing that. Like, I think you get like one update per section kind of thing. Like, I don't know. When I got mines, I updated it, and then there's a newer update that came out, so I can link it up with the controller that I had. If you haven't watched that video about the MK3, the Keylabs one, I was trying to hook it up with Bitwig, but it was like, you don't have the latest version of Bitwig, so you can't do it. And I'm like, that makes absolutely no sense. Why would you do that? And it wouldn't let me update, even though it's still on 5, I think it is. I think it's Bitwig 5. And it's like, you cannot update. I'm like, why? Why can I not update? And this is why I love Reaper. Like, I mean, an update came out today for Reaper. 7.25 came out today. So they're always updating Reaper, and I don't have any issues with that, man. Like, if they find an issue, they usually try to fix it, and they usually fix it pretty quick. Wavelab. Not music. Yeah, agreed. So like, I used to have Wavelab too. Wavelab 5? That was back in the day, yo. Yeah, I had Wavelab. That was my mastering tool. I used to go in the Wavelab and master all my songs and put them to the CDs. That was my method of actually doing that back in the day, yo. Best for restoring edits, mastering, etc. In Audition, I don't know. I've never really used Audition, just to be honest. Like, it's one of those things. Like, if I had to do any kind of like restoring and editing, I did use Wavelab, or I would use like Audacity, because Audacity is really good with audio. So definitely had one of those. Adobe CC Complete over a decade ago. Yeah, man. Nope. Nobody really used it. Used it back then, man. I don't know anybody who uses Audition, except for if they're doing like film stuff and they're editing like vocals. But other than that, I haven't seen anybody using Audition to do anything musically. But yeah, I always wanted to try to, some different DAWs. I am that guy. I like to try different things. See what I'm missing, Like there's a lot of people that will stick to one DAW, and that's cool. I have no issues with that. Master what you feel comfortable with. If you feel comfortable inside a Cakewalk and you feel that this is the DAW for you, stick with Cakewalk. The BandLab one is not going anywhere anytime soon that I know of. The only time it'll probably get old where you'll probably need to update or go to somewhere else is if Windows does some kind of update where the Cakewalk by BandLab doesn't work anymore. And hopefully at that time you'll have decided on another DAW or moved on to Sonar. All right. Any other questions, man? This has been fun so far. So I guess everybody that's in here, like, what DAW are you using? Let me see, I guess, what DAWs you're asking. What is your go-to DAW? Don't give me every DAW you have. All right, so everybody just give me a list of your go-to DAW. This is your DAW that you feel you work the best in. Let me know what you guys are working with. All right. Davey says Reaper. Yeah, I mean, Reaper is tough, man. I was just watching a video with what's his name? Deadmau5? Is it Deadmau5? He was talking about how Reaper is probably the best DAW for you to start with, just because of all the things it can kind of do in there. But yeah, Reaper is definitely up there. All right. All right, we have a Cakewalk person in here. That's amazing, yo. Man, yo, I'm gonna tell you right now, Cakewalk, man, if they would just update some things, man, like they didn't really need to do much, yo. They didn't need to do much. They needed a sampler in there just for the people who do like urban music, so they can actually use like the 808s and hi-hat rolls and things like that. They needed that. They could have added a drum machine in there, so people who want to use like different padded, things, have like a drum kind of box. That would have been really cool if they had added that. They need to update the step sequencer, so you can add it to where you can do rolls a lot easier inside the step sequencer. I like the flamming thing. That was always really cool. The option to kind of change out sounds inside of the step sequencer, that would have been cool as well. And the fact that you can't really change audio. So like, let's say I'm in the track view, right? And I'm adding audio kicks in the track view, right? There's not a way for me to change that kick. I would have to either redo the whole thing or kind of like copy it, another kick, but there's no way for me to like change those kicks that's in there. There's not a way to do that. That would be something that would be really cool. I would definitely love to see them actually add some kind of chord generator of some sort, or like be able to like change chords like you can do in like Studio One and a lot of other DAWs. You can change like the chords, and they make it really easy to make chords for the DAW itself, where you can kind of lock them in even if you're playing notes. I'll probably be doing that on my Reaper, Learning Reaper channel. That's probably going to be my next video, showing you the guys that JS effects, where you can kind of lock in or snap your keys on the keyboard when you're playing. I think that's really dope. But yeah, there's just so much things that they could do to make the DAW so much better, yo. Like it could still be a top DAW, but right now it's like it's falling behind everybody. They're the ones who had the Matrix view like right after, I think, Ableton. So they've had the Matrix view, where you can, do launching and things like that. They've had a step sequencer, probably even before like FL Studio, I guess. I don't know. But they've had a step sequencer for a long time as well. The piano roll is actually a really good piano roll. I just think they just need to tweak some things that's in there. And they have an option to kind of bring up a sample. They call it loop construction, but they don't give you the option to slice and the chop and the pitch and all the other stuff, which they could have added right there in the loop construction. Just make it update the loop construction, and that would have been perfect, yo. But they don't listen to YouTubers, so they don't listen to YouTubers. I've sent many requests. So for all the people out here that'll probably be like, oh, you never sent a request. There's many requests. If you look up XELOHH on there, I'll put my videos on there. I'll put requests on there, ask them for different things, simple things, I think, as well. Like I asked them to put another EQ inside of the Pro channel. Because right now you can only use that one EQ inside there. You know, I mean, you can use a third party one inside there, but you don't want to do that. Who wants to do the third party one? Just give me another Cakewalk EQ inside there, and I can work with that. Because if you're doing vocals, usually the first thing you want to do is subtractive, and then you want to do like probably a compressor, a de-esser, and then you probably want to actually add another EQ on there to do, you know, some additions onto your vocals. But they only have one EQ inside the whole Pro channel, which to me makes absolutely no sense. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. Geo says he uses Cakewalk as well. Cool. All them sex one. That was a very weird one. Yeah. I love Cakewalk, but still don't understand why it hasn't. Yo. All right, so I've been doing this channel for like 3 years now. And I kind of branched off with Cakewalk because most people were giving a lot of love for Cakewalk. So I was like, you know what? Let me stick with Cakewalk and see where it goes. So the first thing I realized is that it didn't have a sampler. And I came from FL Studio, so you know how I felt. I was like, what is this? Why can't I use a sampler? They don't, you know, why doesn't it have a sampler? So I did have the version before that. I had the producer edition for like Sonar producer edition. And so I did have a sampler from the older like DXi kind of a sampler that they used to have inside of Cakewalk, which I don't understand why they never brought it back. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. They're taking away stuff as well. So if you don't have Cakewalk already and you try to use the TTS one, it's not going to be there. It is no longer a part of the bundle. So I don't know what they're doing. Just to be honest, it's just one of those things where they just are taking things away that I don't understand why they're taking it away. They had some really, really cool EQs that they put out. It was kind of separate from the rest of the whole pack. But if you have platinum, I think it came with platinum. And there's a lot of people complaining about they didn't add anything that, you know, that you can't really do in Splat, which is kind of true. I mean, the only thing they did add was the arranger, and they added the articulation and the export. So 3 things they've added since, you know, the Cakewalk one or Sonar Platinum that is not really in Sonar Platinum. But everything else, actually, they have more stuff inside of Sonar Platinum than they do inside of any of these other Cakewalks that you'll get. And the new Sonar, from what I've seen, it has a sampler inside of it, but it's not even as good as like Complete Control sampler. So like, I don't understand what they're doing. Yeah, companies do weird things, decision about. So I don't understand what they're doing, man. I think the mini panning is a problem in Cakewalk because it needs plugins which support panning. Well, see, here's the thing, right? It matters which VST you're using. Some of them don't follow the CC rules of plugins. So like, there's usually like, I think it's like CC 11 is like expression. I think that's what it is. There's one for panning. I don't remember what number it is, but there's a CC code for it. And not all the manufacturers follow that CC code. So when you actually try to do like a panning for a VST and it's not panning, it's usually because that CC code is not correct, right? So you would need to find out what that CC code is. And most of the time you could probably do it through automation. But I understand. I definitely understand what you're saying. Because it's happened to me several times. There's certain plugins that don't work inside of a Cakewalk to do panning, and I don't understand why. But I'm not a manufacturer. I don't do VSTs or anything like that. I don't know why it doesn't work. But it seems to work in other DAWs. Like FL Studio, it seems like it just works. There's no real rhyme or reason. When you put it inside the piano roll, you put a pan, it just pans. I don't know why it just works for that and not everything else. All right. Yashin, is that how you say your name? I'm sorry if I butcher it. The best deal out now is Studio 7 Pro. I kind of agree with you. The only thing that is probably better than that deal wise would be Reaper. Because Reaper is a beast. Really, really a beast, yo. But Studio 1.7 Pro, I haven't used it yet myself personally, but from what I've read and what I've seen, it seems like it's pretty good. But only time will tell. We're gonna see. Yes, Geo, I'm trying to tell you, man, it makes so much sense just to be able to add another EQ. You can add another bus, you can add another compressor in there, no problem, but you can't add another EQ, and I don't know why they won't do that. I see a great DAW named Harrison Mixbus. Harrison Mixbus is amazing when it comes to mixing. Everything else I don't know about. I know I've seen my engineering friends use Mixbus, and it just made everything so much easier to mix. Other than that, like I said, I don't know. I've never seen anybody record inside there, like actual chord vocals inside a Mixbus. They usually just import it in. They import the music, import the vocals and all that stuff, and they mix inside of Harrison Mixbus because it gives that warm analog kind of sound. It's probably like one of the only DAWs that, if you do like the whole A/B comparison kind of thing, that it'll sound different. And that's because they put things on there on purpose. But yeah, I think it's a good. I haven't personally downloaded it, used it, and but I've seen my peers actually use it inside the studio, and I thought it was pretty cool, and it sounds really good as well. Rico in the building. What's good, man? Thank you for joining. Good sampler. Close to FL sample, except complete control. You would ask me that, huh, Geo? Let me see. I know there's one. I just gotta remember the name of it. Let me try to pull it up. All right. Let's see. What is it called? Dang it. Speed drum. Yep, speed drum is a good one. Even like their demo is actually really good. So it's like Speed Rum, RUM. I don't know if you have that or use it yet. Who is this by? Appisonic is the people who make it. I guess I should kind of show you, huh? Hold on. Let me fix myself. Let's close that. Let's go here. And where do we want to be? All right, let's do this. All right. So this is speed drum. I think this is a really, really good sample. You even get an option to do slicing in here. So if you wanted to slice up the sample and put them on your pads, I thought that was really dope. You have an option for like distortion over here. You have filters that you can actually add in here. You have a compressor, and you even have a transient master right here inside of the VST. And this is just a demo version, and all of this works, right? I think the demo version just gives you an option to like save your settings. I think that's like the only difference is you get a chance to save stuff. But yeah, I think it's really dope. Let me see if I can find. This is a problem when you have stuff everywhere. All right. I thought it was in here. Anyway, let's just see. Let's just do cymatics, right? Make us easier on ourselves. So, see, you can just add a sample in here, and it gives you the option to like, you know, play it in. How do you play this again? Is this the play button? Nope. Oh, you can go through the folders as well, right here, going back and forth. It's crazy, yo. Then you have your start and your end points. I can go to the slice option, right? So, and you just hit slice on here, I think. But yeah, this is a really, really good option. Why is it still playing? So yeah, so you have the option to like re-trigger. You can do a one shot, or you can do like per note. So if you're gonna hold down a note, right? You have your volume, your pan, your pitch. You can even put it in trigger groups. So this sampler is really dope, and this is free. So it's called Speed Drum. So that's the one I was talking about. If anybody's interested in that. All right. Let me jump back to my big face. Yay! Anyway, yeah, Serato definitely is not cheap. Yes, you can use one shots in Serato as well. I guess I should just have the other screen up because, you know, y'all gonna ask questions. I can kind of just show you. All right. Let's find Serato, wherever that is. Serato. Did I move it? I did move it. What? This goes to show how long I haven't signed into this. Good Lord. What was the anyway, we're not doing that now. But yes, you can do it in Serato. For some reason, I am logged out of it. I haven't used Serato in months, actually. So I need to sign back in. I'm not going to do it on here because I got to look it up. Oh, man. The things we put ourselves through. All right. Yeah, but you do have an option to do it in Serato. Towel drum or towel sampler. I haven't actually used those, just to be honest. In track, I haven't used that either. Yeah, I think I do have a video for it, but I don't know if I went fully through it or not. Pete Wagner, thanks for joining. Spree drum, but and much activity to those plugins. Oh, I don't know. I just saw it out there. I thought it was actually a pretty good VST. So I use it every once in a while. I still use Satilla over all the other ones, but you know, that's me. I'm a Satilla guy. Yes, that is actually Reaper. I guess I should go back and give y'all the whole setup here. Pull this over to the side here. That's what's up. I don't know what that is. Initial audio said it lags in there. Brazil in the building. What's good, man? Old school sampling. Okay, that's what's up. Bit down sampling. So yeah, so this is Reaper. This theme that I'm using is called Reaper Tips. This is probably difficult for some people, but you know, many don't think so. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing about Reaper. Like, you can change your themes. Like, so, let's go to options. I'm gonna scroll down here, and I'm gonna go to themes. Right. So they have one for that kind of looks like Cakewalk. Let's try this one. Right. So this gives that Cakewalk look. So you have your, you know, was it toucan, Tuscan look? So it has like the same kind of, you know, faders. But you know, the buses are usually on this right hand side, right? So it doesn't do that in Reaper. But everything else kind of gives you that whole Cakewalk feel, like this whole thing here. So I can make it look like Cakewalk. You can even have like the little effects options here. So if I wanted to go in effects, and I can even use some of the Cakewalk stuff if I find it. Where is it at? Let's go to instruments, right? And as you see, I have a whole bunch of instruments. I don't know why. I don't even know why. Let's just type in SI and bring up, let's do the electric piano, right? So you have your cakewalk. Right, so you have that in there. So let's say we wanted to do a loop. I can just grab in here and there I have my loop. If I wanted to make this into like a MIDI item, I can kind of double click in here and it'll make a MIDI item, and the piano roll will kind of still look like cakewalk, right? And it also has the easy snap to keys, kind of like Cakewalk does, but this one is probably a little bit easier. You can kind of choose whatever key you want to, and then you can kind of choose whatever scale or modes you want to actually use. They make it fairly easy to kind of do all this. Mine is really, really modified, just to be honest. Like this is a modified version of Reaper, right? So I have where, you know, you could do arpeggiators in here and my volume velocities. I have a grid options in here. So if I wanted to do triplets and stuff, this is down here, right? I could do split notes really easy. So let's say I put a note, right? With Reaper, you see this little line down here, like FL has this line, but you can't drag this line in FL. In here you can. So like the MIDI editor is really cool, but you have to set it up. That is the only thing about Reaper, is you will have to set it up. But if I wanted to shrink a note, right? So if I put another note and I shrink this one down, you know, it'll still be the same size note when I add another note, right? And you do the double click just like you would inside of Cakewalk, but the difference is you have an option inside of Reaper. If you want it to be only one click, you can set your mouse modifier to be just one click to add a note if you wanted to do that, right? Right, and then if I wanted to just duplicate this over, just Control D and it'll duplicate it over right next to it. If I wanted to change the pitch or go up an octave, let's say I wanted to go up, I hold down Alt and hit the number 8 and it'll move it up. If I hit the number 2 and hold down Alt, it'll go down, right? Right, so like it gives you a really cool options to kind of do stuff in here if you want to. You said from Kenya, my issue on Cakewalk is when I record vocals or instruments, they're on time and on beat. When I listen back, they're out of time with the metronome or are totally off beat. When you're recording, you're saying it's on, but when it sounds like there's some latency in there that you may want to address inside of Cakewalk. It doesn't matter what kind of interface you're using. If you're using like the regular computer, you know, the real talk kind of thing, that's not gonna really line up correctly. But yeah, that's definitely some kind of latency issue. OG is kind of similar to Cakewalk. I would say try it out. Here's the thing about Reaper, right? Yes, they're gonna pop up a screen that's gonna say you should pay for it, and you have a trial version. I know people that have been using the trial version for like 4 or 5 years. They've never paid for a Reaper license. Not saying that's the thing you should do, but they are on the honesty program for Reaper. So like if you pay for it, you do. If you don't, then you can still kind of evaluate it. It's not going to limit you in any way, form, or fashion. So you have everything still working. So All of your settings is going to be working. All of your shortcuts are going to still work. Everything will still work exactly how it is, even if your Reaper, thing says that it's expired. Like they say, I think it's like a 60-day kind of thing, and they want you to purchase it after that. But like I said, there are people who haven't purchased it in many years, but they're still using it. So I say try it out. You have really nothing to lose. If you want to get more in depth with it, you can check out the video that I have on here, or you can even check out my other channel. It's called Learning Reaper. And that one is basically me just going over all this Reaper stuff. Whatever you kind of want to learn, I kind of let you know. I even have like a kind of beginner's guide to Reaper in there as well. So definitely, if you want to try Reaper, I say do it. You have nothing to lose. You're not spending any money. It doesn't take up any space. Let's say you don't even want to put it on your computer. You can launch Reaper from a flash drive. You don't need to put it on your computer. You can put it on a flash drive, plug the flash drive in, and load up Reaper. That's how small and efficient this DAW is. I can't really, express that any more than it is. But it's a great DAW, man. But you have to set it up. I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you, oh, as soon as you install it, it's gonna work and everything's gonna be great. It's not. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's trash without downloading SWS and Reapack. I would not be using Reaper if it didn't have those things in there. And the great community that it has, I would not be using Reaper. I'm just gonna be honest, right? So you can move things anywhere you want to in here. It just makes it that much more smooth. Like nobody really has the setup like I have it set up. So you may see other people using Reaper and like this whole thing is not here. This whole section is gone. Right. So you'll probably see people's look like this. Oh, of course. Right. So now there's nothing on here. There's no mixer, none of that stuff on here. Just kind of whatever you have, right? But it's a really good DAW. Agreed, Davey. I think it's latency. Yeah, that could be it too. Adjusting your file to the grid. But I mean, like I said before, like let me just detach this, right? So you can detach things and move things around wherever you kind of want to, right? So I'm gonna make this bigger. So this is like the browser, and it gives you an option to do like markers. You can favorite stuff. So if you double click, you can favorite the sound. You have your time measurement down here, right? You have an option to do a loop for your sound. So let's say I wanted just to have this section here. So that's all I want. And I can drag this into the playlist if I wanted to. I could change the pitch of it right here if I wanted to as well. And what's cool about Reaper is that it's going to go to whatever tempo you have. If you have this highlighted here, this little section here. So if I don't have this on there, it's going to play at the regular speed. Right. And it also has an option to do like halftime. Right. And you could do double time. And you can always adjust this. Right. So you have all these options in here. It'll usually tell you about the sample over here, the length of it, the bit rate that it is. So like no other DAW that I've seen is doing this, right? So you can edit it right inside here. Even if this was MIDI, I can edit the MIDI and just choose whatever section I want to, and then drag it into the track itself. Right? So, I mean, like it just, it just does so many really cool things, man. Like, I don't even know what else to say. It's a dope DAW, man. Like, there's no other options or way to say it. If I wanted to lock in keys, they have other tools, so I can lock in my key for whatever sample. So if I play a sample, right, it's going to tell me it's in D sharp. So let's say I wanted to be in A sharp. I get an option to actually set it to A sharp. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's things like that that make this like DAW like so dope, man. And I can either just drag it into, you know, the track list, and boom, I have my, you know, my sampler here. As you see, it's gonna do the perfect loop. It's 8 bars. I can bring this back. I can mute this one. Right, and just that simple, I can kind of set all this stuff up. So let's say I wanted to do a drum loop. And this search is so much faster than Cakewalk. You don't understand how many things I actually have inside here. Like, look at all these folders. It just went through all of them. And I can just drag it over. So let's say that's not the right one, right? I'll delete it. And I can go to another one. And it's gonna play on beat with the track. Let's say I want that one. Drag it over. I mean, and it's just that simple to kind of work with this as, you know, your DAW. It's just fire, man. Like, I don't know another DAW that kind of does these kind of things. And then when it comes down to like just rendering, like they even have this new thing now where you can do a dry run and show your output, right? So as you see, I'm peaking at these points here, and it just did a dry run of my track. And now if I click in here, you can see the playhead actually move to whatever section I want to check out. So if I want to check out this section, why it's peaking, it'll move to that section. And we can see that's because of the kick, right? So it's moving along whatever I click inside here. Super dope. Like, I don't know another DAW that kind of does that. It's going to give me all my readings here, my LUF stuff, right? Where is it clipping at? That's the peak. The peak is plus 6.9. That's ridiculous, yo. But yeah, so all this is right here, and it's a dry run. So if I wanted to render it exactly like that, I could click on render, and it'll give me an option to render out the track. So yeah, man. And in here, forget about it. I do have a video explaining all this stuff inside here, how to get yours set up to render out different things. I think it's fire, man. I mean, just to be honest, like it's super, super effective. So if I wanted to, you know, just render out just the kick or whatever, or the drums, I could just do drums, right? And I can do right down here where it says Q, and I can add to a render queue, right? Now it's with the drums. So I can hit on solo for the drums, go down here to render queue, and add it to render queue, right? So now let's say I want the whole track. Or let's say full. Full is easier, right? So I'll put that one as full. I'll go down here to queue, and I go to add to render queue. So now I have the full. Oh, I didn't change it. Let's go and do that again. And I'm going to overwrite it, right? So if I go down here and I go to open render queue, you'll see my 3 in here now, right? And all I got to do is render all, and it'll render all of these out and put them wherever I wanted them to go. So if I wanted this to be on, like, let's say my desktop, right? And I wanted this to be in a folder, I can put I guess that's a backslash. I don't even know. Backslash / right? And then I can just say whatever the track is called. Let's say track, right? And then it's going to make a folder called track on your desktop. And then it'll put the full after it. So whatever you have in here, I think that's super dope. You can change your sample rate to whatever you want it to actually be. I would highly suggest to keep it on 48 just because, like I said earlier in this video, that, yeah, it doesn't really matter. I'll put it on this new thing that they've actually made, this R brand thing. It gives you the highest quality and it's the fastest one to render. If you wanted to do like a straight render, it gives you an option to do that as well. You can normalize and limit and fade the track like right here. So if you wanted to normalize, you can click on normalize and set whatever you want it to actually be. Like, it is so in depth, man. Like, it is the best rendering program I've ever used when it comes to music. Better than Studio One, better than Pro Tools, better than any other program, period. No one is even close except for Cakewalk. Cakewalk is the closest one that I've seen. Yes, the render window is very, very deep. But yeah, I mean, if you're interested in Reaper, like I said, I have a whole channel called Learning Reaper. You can learn about Reaper if you wanted to. But I think it's really cool. You get to change your skins if you want to. Like I said, I have this right now looking like Cakewalk. But I usually stick to my Learning Reaper one. I'm sorry, not Learning Reaper. Reaper Tips. Yeah, so this is the one I usually stick with. So, yeah. So if you guys have any other questions, let me know. I'm about to jump off here and go see what my family is doing. They're probably wondering why I'm in here talking to myself. Oh man, the world. All right. So yeah. So yeah, I know. Yeah, there's people that stopped doing themes. I've been really satisfied with the Reaper Tips one. I think it looks good. It works for me. I actually might start using that Cakewalk one. I actually like the way it looks. I forgot all about that one. So yeah, I guess we're gonna jump off of here. I appreciate you guys for stopping by. Hopefully I can do some more of these Q&As, and if you guys have questions, I can probably try to answer them in maybe in a video form to kind of show you a step-by-step. But yeah, I appreciate everybody for stopping by. I'm almost at 10K subscribers, so if you haven't already, make sure you're liking and subscribing to the channel. And yeah, once again, it's your boy, X.E.L.O. Till next time, people. Peace.